This video is about your life and my life
and mine
and mine.
Today we are all linked together
in one common destiny.
Wherever we are,
you and I, on this planet.
This video is about us.
We are people of the world.
And we are appealing to you.
And we are appealing to you.
Our home planet is in crisis, and this is her final wake-up call to us.
The hour is late. It's time to decide. I'm quite confident that you will make choice wisely. In addressing global warming issues, the scientists have made it quite clear.
Climate change as a self-inflicted wound, if you like,
can wipe out the very meager assets.
We have a climate crisis that is a planetary emergency.
It's hard for people to realize this because you don't notice much happening. Global warming is about 1 degree Celsius, and weather variations are much larger than that from one day to another. So you don't notice that there's a crisis, but in fact, we are at a crisis point now because we are very close to passing tipping points in the climate system that would have very undesirable consequences. In fact, we've actually passed one tipping point, and that's the Arctic Ocean. We've already reached a point where we're going to lose all of the ice in the Arctic Ocean.
We're already seeing record temperatures around the world, and with it, we're seeing species going extinct, we're seeing sea levels rise and coastal flooding, we're seeing spreading diseases, and we're seeing more extreme weather. What we're seeing now is just the beginning of what's predicted if we let things get worse.
The IPCC, the UN Climate Panel, got it right. I mean, basically, operating on data that is now 4 or 5 years old, they made predictions about what the Earth system, what the climate system would look like in the future. Now we have something like 4 or 5 years more data, and it turns out that we're on their worst case trajectory, or the worst case scenario that they defined, or maybe even worse.
If those in this August gathering do not act on time, all of us would become leaders and citizens of failed states, because we would be failing in our sacred duty to protect this planet, which gives life to all species. Science leaves us with no space for inaction now.
this video is about us.
The climate crisis is staring at us right in the face.
Can we, as the human race, react fast enough to save ourselves?
It took nature 150,000 years to make the Great Greenland Ice Sheet that's now melting into the sea faster than at any time in history. As it disappears, rising oceans will flood coastal cities around the world.
This global warming, they do not respect any borders. They do not respect any religions or races, poor or rich. So we will be the victims.
It is a worldwide crisis. It will affect you.
The devastating effects of global warming may be much more imminent than most people realize. Hidden at the bottom of the ocean is a little-known factor that could accelerate the whole process. Massive deposits of frozen methane, a potent greenhouse gas.
The amount of methane in the ocean is much larger than the amount of methane and CO2 that we can get from fossil fuels.
If the ocean gets warm enough, the methane will defrost and rise from the ocean into the atmosphere. Global warming will suddenly get a steroid injection. If that happens, we will be past the tipping point. Colossal hurricanes would hammer the oceans would become too hot to support much life. Droughts, forest fires, and famine would rage across the continents. Florida would be gone, completely swallowed by the rising ocean, as well as hundreds of cities all around the world.
We are so close to the red line that perhaps we may wake up tomorrow and find that there's nothing to save after all.
Everybody should realize that money, useless. House, useless. Power, useless. Everybody we got. So we do what we can to make people realize that, okay? We have to save the only planet we have and the most beautiful one that we know.
While the world waits for one another to take responsibility, global warming is getting worse by the day.
To save our lives, we have to help save the planet ourselves.